Şu başlıklı konuşmasını sunmak üzere Finlandiya'nın Helsinki şehrinde bulunan Aalto Üniversitesi Mimarlık Fakültesi Ahşap Programı Profesörü Sayın Profesör Doktor Mimar Pekka Heikkinen'i sahneye davet ediyorum.
Thanks. I was surprised as well to see the snow this morning from the hotel window. It seems that wherever I go, there will be a little bit of snow. Luckily, or unfortunately for me, I will leave tomorrow, and the taxi driver promised that tomorrow it will shine again, so I will take the weather with me as well. This is the Finnish Forest Museum, which was built in 1992. I think it's a very nice building, but unfortunately it's made out of concrete. And of course it doesn't make sense in a country like Finland to build a forest museum in concrete. But unfortunately in 1992 it was a fact that we couldn't anymore build a wooden house. It is funny, especially when we look at these pictures. This is how we built houses, or how we have built houses forever. And as you can see, we utilize timber as well in everyday goods like tools and such. Sometimes even the clothes and shoes were partly made out of wood and paper. And even in most difficult times, the bread was partly made out of wood. My mother thought that it tasted awful, but anyway, it kept us alive. Nowadays, the situation is a little bit better. 90 to 80% of our single-family houses are made out of wood, and very many of the small-scale residential areas are built with wood as well. Since 1995 we had a possibility to build 4-story buildings with wooden structures, and this spring I think we are allowed to build it up to 8 stories. If you build a small public building like a school in Finland, the most natural, most economical choice would be wood. This is the Department of Architecture from Oulu, northern Finland. And I'm very happy to notice that our traditional building type, wooden building type church has had also new interpretations in wood in past 5 years. But timber is not only for small buildings. This is an arena, a sports hall in Joensuu, which has a span of 42 meters, so you can quite easily build even big structures in wood. Or this heavy traffic bridge in middle of central part of Finland. Sibelius Hall, a modern concert house, shows that you could utilize timber structures in very demanding building tasks. And I'm personally most interested about these new office buildings that we have already built in Espoo, Joensuu and Rovaniemi in different parts of Finland. So, in fact, timber is very versatile material in architecture in Finland. To me, timber is not a modern building material. We all know that it's one of the original building materials with clay, stone, and oldest examples of use of wood in building are about 18,000 years old. So it's an ancient material. But I think more than that, it's a material that we can use more and more in near future. To me, timber is a material for the future. We all know the advantages of wood. It's a renewable material. It grows in our forests. storages carbon dioxide, it's hydroscopic material, and I could go on rest of the night with speaking about advantage of timber. We as well know the challenges of timber. It wears out, it has deformations, it's a burnable material, but the fact is that it burns very poorly and also doesn't create any toxic gases. Then we know that in building process we should take good care of moisture control, especially when building in wood, but with other materials as well. And then finally we should find out secure, easy, economical, durable ways of building in wood. Anyway, in Finland we use a lot of timber. We have three main building materials: concrete, steel and timber is, or all of them share 1/3 of the market share. And in fact all the technical challenges in building in wood have been already solved, so it's only attitude whether we build in wood or not. And because of the good points, for example, storage in coal, I'm sure that we will be building more and more big structures globally, as well here in Turkey, I guess. But especially in Finland, when building a house is extremely expensive, it might cost something like 3,000 euros per square meter, so we have to make sure that we make better and better quality. We have tried in Aalto University to meet these challenges with very most simple way, learning by doing. We are one of the few universities in the world that share or has chairs for wood technology, wood building technology and wood architecture in same house, and that's what we try to utilize in our education and research. We have two directions which of course head to same goal: the innovation in wood architecture, which you can see in our exhibition, but then of course we have to give knowledge how to build in wood, which is a little bit more boring but very important part of education. And then we also do some little bit more serious thing, research and development, and as an example we have three research lines. First of them is about future building, and our Luukku house, which I will tell a little bit more later on, is a good example of that. And we noticed that in that house it storages amazing amount of carbon dioxide. It doesn't use any energy at all, and we noticed that the low carbon and low energy building will be the high quality in near future. Then second research development line is renovating with wood. We have plenty of very poorly built houses from 60s and 70s which need some renovation, and we have developed in cooperation with other universities a system how to make fast process renovation on those buildings and make them look better as well. And third one is the development of the wooden surfaces. We're trying to find more durable, more easily assembled, easily maintained and repairable wooden surfaces, since I think wood should look good also when it's old. These projects are done in close cooperation with Finnish building industry, like our exhibition is. Then a few words about the wood program. We are about half of your age, about 17, 16 years, and on that time we have built something like 28 projects. Part of them are shown in the exhibition. We start the project where wood grows in the forest. In the first day, we take the students to the forest, ask them to pick the nicest, biggest tree on the site, and then we cut it down and start to explore what is inside the wood. Of course, we study the growth rings, how timber grows, how knots are made, and the other essential things. Then we saw the log in different ways to see what is inside the tree. Then we go on studying the industrial use of wood or industrial wood of use of timber, engineered timber products, glue, plywood and such. And then with the students by their own hands to study what kind of components we could make out of wood. And finally, how to build in wood. In wood program we don't actually have to teach architects because the students already know it. We can concentrate on timber. But anyway, the final aim will be good architecture in wood. We start the program with 4 small tasks. First of them is seen in the exhibition stand, small wooden boxes where the idea is to study the properties of Finnish wood species. We have 16 of them and they are a little bit different, all of them. Next one is how to build or how not to build a frame of a house. How to do it in innovative, clever way. How to join 2 pieces of wood. I think it's one of the essential in building in wood in general. And then skin, or you could say as well facade or cladding in wood. When these small tasks are done, we start our main project, the project that we are about to build in that study period. We do all the design in big groups starting from 12 to 20 students, and that's why we have to do a lot of alternatives, study the project from different viewpoints and then try to find the best solution available or suitable for our project. We do test all the solutions because we built the project and we have to be safe. We have to be sure that the structure is safe, and we have at least 2 ways of testing. I think this is the better one. We just test by ourselves how strong timber is. But then of course we have these fancy machines in our laboratory to do the real tests as well. After testing, of course, we analyze the solution, and this is a test for joint like this, and we had 12 different alternatives, and then we analyzed them in 8 viewpoints: visual aspects, suitability for our project, tension, compression and shear forces, humidity, how easy it would be to construct, and finally use of wood. And I think this is quite nice table because it shows that only 2 of the alternatives were suitable for timber material, and it explains quite the situation that we don't actually know too much about timber. When everything is designed, everything is tested, and all the analyses are done, we are ready for the day that the students have been waiting the whole year to build the project. Mainly we try to put up the project in 1 day, hopefully in office hours, but sometimes it takes a week, 2 weeks or something like that. Anyway, we try to utilize the best technology available, and I have noticed that technology gives very big possibilities for wood architecture. Then we try to work as a factory. We try to do everything very controlled, very organized, and very quickly. The idea is to use more brain than the muscles. But of course that's theory. When we go to the building site, we have to start cutting the components again, or use the biggest sledgehammer that we have in our workshop, and in some cases already start to redesign the things. But I've noticed that the learning by mistake is as good method as learning by doing, and it's always needed as well. The most important thing in wood program is the team. Since we are many students designing just a small building, we have to, or we gain as good project, as good teamwork we can do. And since now, or in fact wood program is a very international program, we have had since now students from 32 countries. Only one of them was from Turkey, and he was also half Turkish and half Bulgarian, so we are still waiting for the Turkish student to come. Anyway, building house in wood program is hard work, long days and a lot of work, but from my experience I have noticed that hard work always pays back. In past 16 years we have built 28 projects, and most of them are seen in the exhibition. We have even the last ones in this exhibition, so we try to keep it updated. And the last one was the Luukku house that we designed for Solar Decathlon Europe competition 2010 in Madrid. And it's also the biggest project that we have done, only 42 square meters, but anyway a big house for a group of students. And this is how it looks. It's by the way on sale at the moment if you are interested. Learning by doing is the main method, but I have noticed during the years that it isn't reasonable to learn everything by yourself. So we also have built quite good study program for our students. You can learn by studying and use the knowledge in the project that we do. Then another important thing is that we have very good facilities in our university. I think it's Professor Pallasmaa who is in the front seat who brought the workshop to our university in early 90s, and it's the most used and most active part of our wood program. Then we do every year a new project. It would be clever to go on with the same ideas, but it keeps us awake and gives possibility to utilize the creativity more better. And the main aim of our program is to give the students experience that they cannot learn only from books. Woodworks exhibition has been going on 6 countries, and hopefully we don't have to take it home after this Istanbul exhibition. Mervi also said that Harri Lindberg and Ransu Helenius are somewhere in there, and you can ask about the details of the project after the presentation is done. Then a few words why we should use wood in building and architecture. And the main reason, of course, is that it storages CO2 from our atmosphere. It's the only building material that has a negative carbon footprint, which means that it storages more coal that cause emissions. I think in Turkey as well we won't run out of wood ever. The Finnish forests are growing at the moment better than they have ever done, mostly because of the forestry activities. So it will be a material that is always available. And I was surprised with our Luku House project that you could do a house with mainly renewable natural building materials, in this case in wood. Our house has about 75% of renewable materials and with storage about 26 tons of CO2, which is a lot. And it causes CO2 emissions about 15 tons, so the balance is extremely good. This is a scheme, a little bit old scheme of use of wood in Finland. This is when wood program was founded. We are of course not the only factor to effect on use of wood, but it will be more and more used in the near future. That has required a lot of education, research and development, and also support from government, but also mainly from wood industry. And wood industry has always kept given good support for our project too. Then I have thought that there's some trends that will be seen on wood architecture in the future. First of them is use of massive wood, which means in this case that we use more timber, but also with more bigger dimensions. Earlier we have used to use kind of elegant dimensions, but I think the massive and heavy use of wood will be more and more seen. For example, those big panels, 3 meter by 20 meter panels give a lot of possibilities in building in wood. Then the fact that timber acts as a moisture buffer to balance the moisture content of indoor air, or the simple fact that timber has very good thermal properties. It's always more or less warm. These two things will be utilized in building more and more. Then secondly, the optimized use of wood. Timber is quite economical building material, but the simple principle is that more timber, more expensive. And if you start to optimize timber, you have to have good skills in engineering and architecture. Very often it's thought that wood is old-fashioned material which should be used in handicraft methods. But I believe much more on industrial methods and new technologies, for example, computer-aided manufacturing. Any of these projects seen on the slides would have not been possible to build without new technology. Then I hope someday we will build houses that protect themselves, like old Japanese temple where the roofs protected the temple interior, or in Norwegian stave churches. And then use of renewable materials, repairable, replaceable and recyclable timber building components, and then reducing the use of material. Next one is the natural house. From what I have seen, the building a house will be more and more technological. You need more and more machines which make this kind of noises all the time. But I think the one that can do a house that works naturally, technically, and utilizes the natural building material will be a success. And then of course quality never goes out of style. But the biggest trend of all will be the knowledge. I have noticed that since if you know something, you can much better use your creativity. And that's what we're trying to do with our wood program students. Thank you.
Profesör Pekka'ya çok teşekkür ediyoruz. Sorularınız varsa eğer kendisi yanıtlamaktan memnuniyet duyacaktır. Arkadaşlarımız burada mikrofonlarla size getirebiliriz. Var mı eğer sorunuz? Ellerinizi görebiliriz.
Hello, thank you very much for your excellent presentation. I would like to ask about the cube project in the exhibition you mentioned. Can you a little bit give us the details?
Sorry, I didn't hear the project. Those small cubes. The idea is
What was the assignment for the project?
it's simple as that we bring in our workshop 6 to 7 or 8 Finnish wood species, different wood species, and the students are asked to make a 20 by 20 by 20 box out of wood. Hopefully it will be the last box that they will do about wood. And the box should somehow tell something about the properties of timber. And it's the first task that we have, and I'm amazed when I look at the boxes that the students that have no skills in using tools or using wood create such nice pieces of art. It's about 2-week task, and it's maybe the nicest project that the students do. We try to make it as simple that they have to use their imagination. And later on I have noticed that when we start to design a house, they lose half of the imagination. But if you do very simple tasks, then they have to fight to find out their own imagination.
Hi. What type of wood do you use in the Finnish houses in the one-to-one scale projects?
If you ask a biologist
I mean the name of the tree.
Yeah, I will come to that. We have about, or it depends how you look, we have either 32 wood species or 16. But if you ask sawmiller, then we have 2, pine and spruce. And it's also a fact that we have in Finland 90% of our trees are both spruce and pine, so we don't have too much more than those 2. So pine, spruce.
Thank you.
And in sometimes a little bit of birch, but not in structures.
Türkçe sorabilir miyim?
I have a short question about earthquake in Turkey. It's the main difference, I think, comparing to Finland, that we have earthquake and we have more urban areas here in Istanbul. You see, it's a 15 million city. We have high-raised buildings. What do you think about this? Do you have also projects or research activities about this problem maybe in Turkey? Turkey could be a big market for you.
We are not salesmen, we are more or less scientists, but I was waiting for that question, of course. Unfortunately, I don't know anything about earthquakes, because in Finland our ground is very stable, we don't have any earthquakes. But then I heard a colleague from Turkey that it's quite good in case of earthquakes. And in fact, we are doing at the moment a small house, shelter house for refugee camps, which will be situated somewhere in this area with earthquakes. So maybe this spring we know a little bit more about that fact. But I also heard from our Japanese colleagues that they have very good tools to fight the earthquakes with timber structures. The
One last
answer is
question
that I
then.
don't know about that.
Evet, son sorunuzu alabiliriz. Buyurun.
Ben şunu merak ediyorum. Ağacın bu kadar yoğun kullanıldığı yapılarda yangınla ilgili önlemleri nasıl alıyorlar? The fire precautions that you take, what sort of precautions that you take against fire?
Sorry, I didn't hear anything about in this.
In these wooden houses, what precautions you take against fire? Fire. Burning fire. Fire, yes. Fire.
As I told, we can build 4 stories in wood at the moment, and there is 3 main rules that we have to use in building those multi-story houses. First of all, the building first is that people has to be able to escape in 2 directions. The other one is that the house should stand an hour in case of fire. And third one is that the fire should not escape from one department, for example, one flat to another. But then in case of wooden houses, we have to have the automatic sprinkler system, which sets down the fire if such happens. So because of that, the new multi-story houses in wood are at least 2 times more safe than the traditional concrete blocks of flats. There has been one fire in one of our new multi-story houses, and in Finland the fire mostly sets on sofa or bed. Somebody smokes and falls asleep. In this case, the sprinkler system was turned on, and the woman living in the flat was saved. Long answer for a simple question.
Güzel soruşunuz için teşekkür etmek isterim. Soruşunuz için teşekkür etmek isterim. Onun dışında biraz önceki soruya benzer bir soru yöneltmek istiyorum. Şimdi bizim ülkemizde özellikle yönetmelikleri hazırlayanlar ahşabın yanıcı olduğu kabulüyle bütün yönetmelikleri yapıyorlar. Bu nedenle de Türkiye'de ahşap inşaat pek gelişemiyor. Yani bir yandan ahşap endüstrisi de belki o yüzden gelişemiyor. Oysa ben yıllar önce Finlandiya'da bir ziyaret sırasında bir kereste deposu görmüştüm. 40 metrelik açıklıklar ahşapla geçiliyordu ve kereste deposu zaten ahşaptan yapılmıştı. Eski alışkanlığımızla ben niçin başka malzemeden yapılmadığını sordum. Bir kereste deposu ve deponun kendisi de ahşaptan yapılıyor. Bana başka neyle yapabiliriz dediler. İşte o zamanki aklımla çelikle yapabilirsiniz dedim. Oysa şimdi biliyoruz ki çelik ahşaptan çok daha yanıcıdır. Acaba resmi makamları bu işe ikna etmek için ne yapılabilir? Teşekkür ederim.
I'm only a university professor. Anyway, I have seen as well in Finland, for companies that sell wood in a steel building, and to me it looks very silly, very stupid that somebody sells wood but don't use it themselves. By the way, we have two ways to fight the fire regulation. Other one is to cover timber with unburnable material, for example gypsum board. Or then we use the fact that timber burns in 1 minute 0.6 millimeters, and we dimension the structures bigger to be durable in case of fire.
Evet, Sayın Profesör Pekka Heiken'e çok teşekkür ediyoruz. Ve siz değerli katılımcılarımız böylesi kötü bir havada bizleri yalnız bırakmayıp bu etkinliğimize katıldığınız için tekrar çok teşekkürler. Şimdi kokteylimizle birlikte sergi açılışımızda alanımıza sizleri davet ediyoruz. Dünya Kadınlar Günümüz kutlu olsun. Hepinize iyi akşamlar.